I honor my African ancestors and my Native ancestors. It's an honor to me to be both. I would never say that, because when it comes to our tribe, we are mixed with African. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it.
There we go.
Aquani Top, Alyssa Sparrow, the Tussaries, Treadwell, Cells, Nissaquogues, Unkechaugs, Setauket, Nissaquogues, Sparrow. Hello, my friends and relatives. My name is Alyssa Sparrow. My family line is from the Treadwell side and also the Cells side. I'm registered Unkechaugs and also Setauket, and I live on the Massapequas Indian Reservation in Massapequas, New York.
Okay, Crystal, Wanda, Metussapequas, Treadwell, Unkechaugs, 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 Setauket. My name is Crystal. I am from the Turtle Clan, Treadwell, and I'm from the Unkechaugs Indian Reservation.
We are at the Setaukets powwow, the Corn Festival powwow that we have every year. It's for the Setauket tribe. Long Island has a lot of tribes. We only have 2 reservations, the Shinnecock and the Unkechaugs, but we also have other active tribes on Long Island. And one is the Setauket Nation. They've been around a long time. They're part of the George Washington Spy Ring. If you ever heard about the George Washington Spy Ring, they played a major role in being around and helping with that. So they have they're very famous. They're historically recognized, that tribe, Setauket. And we have a woman chief, her name is Helen Sells. And she also is my relative. And I'll introduce you guys to her later on. But yeah, that's the Setauket tribe. We're still here. So when it comes to our Treadwell bloodline and other bloodlines that we're related to a lot of these tribes here on Long Island. A lot of our family came from different tribes, and a lot of people are intermarried, a lot of even cousins married. So our Treadwell side comes from, first Unkechaugs, but we also have Matinecocks in us. We also have, everyone really started Montaukett. Montaukett is like the main one. If you go through our lineage, everyone pretty much starts at Montaukett. We have our Shinnecock relatives, our Shinnecock ancestors, and like the Unkechaugs, Setauket, we're all pretty much related in some way, somehow. But we are registered Unkechaugs. We were born there. We have blood right there. We have our land there. We are enrolled there.
And we are still here.
And we are still here, there. Yep. So, but we do intertribal, and that's why we started our tribal intertribal organization, because we are related to everybody, and it's a small world. So we just want to keep everybody together and bring everybody back and unite to heal.
So, y'all both descend from a former chief of the Unkechaugs. Could you speak a little bit about your grandfather?
Let's start with our great uncle, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have the seal. So our great uncle, Donald Treadwell, also our relative, Carla Miller, they came up with the seal. Uncle Donald, Lone Otter, if you ever heard of Lone Otter Treadwell, he was also a chief. He passed away back in about 20 years ago. 30 years ago, he actually passed away, 30 years ago. But he played a big role. Like, you'll find a lot of poems. So he does poems. He was a writer. He was a poet. He was just a great man, very knowledgeable. He was a historian, I would one day love to be just as great as him. But his name was Donald Lone Otter Treadwell, chief. So that is one of our uncles, which would be, that'll be my grandfather's brother, Donald. And then it goes up a line. After his father was also, it goes up a line because his father was also chief, and that's where her grandfather comes in. So our great grandfather. So my great grandfather, which is Mr. Treadwell, his father. I'm trying to think of his native name. I can't think off the top of my head right now, but they call him Pat. It was a nickname, Pat. But his name was Walter Treadwell. He was also a chief, and his brother, which will be his little brother, which would be my little cousins,
Yeah, so his
Great-grandfather.
Yep, my great grandfather is Chief Red Fox Treadwell, and he's the brother of
Walter.
Yep, Walter C. Treadwell. And I actually haven't. I wish I met him in my lifetime, but I haven't. But I heard so many great things about him, and you know that runs in our family as well, the Treadwell line. That there's a lot of great things that we do as a family for our communities. A lot of great things we do for the kids, the adults, and this is what we do. And we want to carry that on, the legacy of them, because it's needed. It's in our spirits to do so.
So to even go even further, so we have our uncle was a chief, you know, my great-grandfather was a chief, her great-grandfather chief. Now, those brothers, their father was also a chief, and they call him Chiefy, and he was also a Treadwell. And if I'm not mistaken, I heard he has Pequot in him, Pequot bloodline in him from the stories I've told, and he was also a chief too. So that's kind of where it all comes down to.
Can you speak to a little bit about what it means to have someone that's kind of partnering with you on this journey in terms of re-embracing and really expressing the culture?
It's not lonely anymore. It's not a lonely journey anymore. You have someone who understands you, that you could feed off, you know, go back and forth with ideas, and like, you know, I don't want to say, I don't want to use the word mission anymore, because mission reminds me of missionaries. So I don't even want to say it's a mission, but it's just a journey a calling that, you know, we are on. You know, my grandfather came to me in my dream. That's how I came back here, and he told me it's time for me to come back home. I left everything in Atlanta. I had a house, 3-story house, left it all with an RV, came home, because we have something to save. We have our culture, you know. Everyone has everything else going on, you know, businesses, and, you know, they have dispensaries and the gas stations. But we're just trying to hold on to the culture, you know. This is a beautiful thing, you know, and to be able to have this more and be able to be a part of these things more, you know. We wasn't like that growing up. I know I wasn't, you know. So that's the goal. It's just to learn. You know, can't say we all lost it because it's in our DNA. It's about relearning it, you know, relearning the language. And we're in the language class too. So we're trying to learn language and all that good stuff. How is it? How is it?
You were supposed to be coming out to Unkechaugs. Could you tell us a little bit about the Intertribal Cultural Coalition?
Well, it's better for us to read it. You can read this one because you're good at it and read it. Yeah.
All right, so first, this is actually our symbol for Intertribal Cultural Coalition, ICC. And there's actually a big meaning behind this. A big meeting behind every aspect of this. We'll get to this another time.
Yeah.
But every little thing has a meaning, and that's usually what it is with every symbol or every seal when it comes to things. So Intertribal Cultural Coalition was established this year before us, where we've already been putting in the work for years now, but we finally decided to put a name to it and create an organization behind it. And I'm going to read from this. And it says, Intertribal Cultural Coalition was established by Alyssa Sparrow Treadwell and Crystal Wanda Treadwell, 2 blood right members of the Unkechaugs Indian Nations whose spirits joined forces in wanting better for the community and others alike. After experiencing how much our own communities needed different resources that can nourish our culture, we recognize this same need in other tribes. Guided by the native spirit within us, we collectively work together to continue to push for resources that will better all communities intertribally for generations to come. By being active participants in Indian country, we made it our priority to be actively involved in our community and others as well. We have done so much over the years, and, you know, a lot of people have followed us, and we constantly get stopped, and, you know, they let us know that they see us, and that actually warms us because we want the involvement. We want people to be aware. We want them to know we are still here. And that's our mission too, as well, is to keep traditions alive and bring them back. And that's so important. This will ensure that the present generation and the generations to come will learn and understand their origins and heritage. We stand for dedicating to maintaining cultural identity and encouraging connections with our ancestors through traditions and family values, encouraging learning traditional language, and even promoting awareness to the public through cultural education. When we lose our culture, we lose ourselves. When we lose our culture, we lose ourselves, bringing back and maintaining what our ancestors already proven worked centuries ago. A system that has been slowly broken down with colonization. Helping those return back to their indigenous roots, educating the public and being proud of our indigenous identities and help keep our culture strong. And that's what we continue to plan to do. Just keep on building the workshops, making the connections, being okay with, showing up and representing our Unkechaugs, not just that,
all of our tribes. Long Island alone.
All of our relations.
And we're thankful that people are opening the door for us to learn stuff. Like we're learning the Medean ways, the medicine ways. So grateful to learn like really ancient traditions that, a lot of people don't know. And that helps with healing, and it helps with so much doing like rituals and, so we're excited to be on that journey. And also everything that we could get, we're here to support. Our main thing is support. If someone has something going on, we're here to support you, and we just show up and support, because one thing we learned around here is a lot of people don't show up, and everyone can talk a lot, but it's about showing up and actually doing the work and not just talking and complaining, trying to figure it out. Everyone's not perfect. Everybody has their own ways, but we got to help each other out and guide each other and not try to keep each other down. I'm so tired of this crab in a bucket mentality that, a lot of us have, not even just natives, just even people of color. We're always fighting on the outside.
Now we're fighting on the inside.
Yeah, we don't need to do that. We need to lift each other up instead of pulling each other down, and get rid of this crabs in the bucket mentality. We're never going to get nowhere,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, if you come to a powwow gathering, right, you'll see for yourself the nature of our people, how we're ethnically mixed.
Yeah.
Right. It's not a problem for us. It's never been a problem for us, right?
Yeah.
It seems to be a problem for people from outside the communities.
Yeah.
So, without getting too deep into that quagmire, can you just speak a little bit about your ethnic ancestry, and does that in any way deter you from expressing your cultural, experiences?
Well, I embrace it. I feel like being mixed with, I'm mixed with a lot of stuff, but what I really narrow it down with is, Native, because that's how I grew up on a reservation. My dad's straight Jamaican, so I identify with my Jamaican culture, and I've been there, and I was raised the Jamaican way too, so I know both cultures, but that never stopped me from, embracing, I was always proud to be Unkechaugs, but, growing up on the reservation, it's just, you're being regular. It's not like we're always engulfed in the culture. So that's why as being adults now, we're trying to learn it. We never had it growing up. So I embrace, like I said, I feel more powerful because I'm mixed with the bloods of two survivors. You know what I mean? We got the Africans and, and then we have our natives, and they've survived both. So I'm proud of that, very proud of that, because we're still here.
Our ancestors made sure that we're here today.
I honor my African ancestors and my Native ancestors. It's an honor to me to be both. I will never say that, because when it comes to our tribe, we are mixed with African. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it, because William Floyd, who, was one of the Declaration of Independence signers, he's the one who had our family members, they didn't say enslaved, but indentured, also mixed with African slaves. So that's how we kind of all mixed together, because they were both mixed together, both working together, and so we know that we came from Africa. That's where it came from, and proud of it. Never turn our back on it. That's what we're a melanated tribe. Unkechaugs, Puspatuk is one of the oldest tribes in the United States. A lot of people don't know we are one of the original tribes, and we're mixed, and we're proud of it. And that's just it.
Is also known for is your church. Could you talk a little bit about that?
The church, Paul Cuffey, and we actually, that's when we went to go visit his grave. That was Paul Cuffey. He was, I guess, a missionary. He was Shinnecock and Montaukett, if I'm not mistaken, definitely Shinnecock. And he had churches in Shinnecock, and he had church in Unkechaugs. So his children are the ones where our bloodline comes from because they came to Unkechaugs and they ended up Elizabeth Job. She was also a female chief, one of the female chiefs, and so the Cuffeys and Elizabeth Job, they got together, had kids, and that's where our bloodline comes from, where it comes from the Unkechaugs. So stories I heard about the church was another reason why we were able to keep our church, because we were praying Indians. We weren't, we adapted with the times, and they took it and they ran with it, but they still used it. Like when we have our June meeting, they used the church, but they also did it where we could all have a gathering together, because we weren't allowed to gather. Natives were not allowed to gather, so they had to do it through the church. So all the gatherings, everything they did it through the church, and the church still plays a major role on our reservation today. But one thing about our church though is they accept our traditions and stuff like that. They don't, turn their back on us. They don't, I sell sage and crystals. They share my post. You know what I mean? So the church shares it. They come and visit when they do the walk around the reservations to make sure they bless the area. So they understand. They don't try to say, oh, you shouldn't be doing this. Not our church. I don't know about other churches, but our church understands. Yeah.
All right, so appreciate time you gave us. I know you got business to run.
Okay.
If you could just give your information in terms of the organization, where people can follow you, and also your social media and all that, so we can have people pull up to your websites.
So as for our organization, like I said, we are a work in progress. We're still building. We're still new. Intertribal, we're looking for support. And when we said the word intertribal, we mean everybody. All nations come together and see how we can come together. We may do ceremonies, full moons, come together, just do things to, just so it has to be separate. It doesn't have to be just Unkechaugs, just, Shinnecock and everybody doing something separate. I want to do where we all come together. So yes, follow guys. You can follow us at Intertribal_cultural_coalition on Instagram is where you can find that. You can find me at Sparrow's Crystal Gift Shop for my Instagram.
And Princess One Dove for my Instagram, as well as One Dove's Trading Post LLC on Instagram.
It's Turtle Gang. We just left the Setaukets Green Corn Festival. Met some amazing people. Turtle Gang coming at you. Real people doing real things. Hope you enjoy.